Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward. Welcome back to Lettermen Row for another BuckIQ. We've got our guy Zach Boren, former Ohio State NFL defensive superstar, and my co-host.
I don't know about that.
All right, well maybe sometimes
co-host is more realistic.
All right, we'll just go with the co-host
Yeah.
for now. But we've been breaking down these guys and kind of save one of the best for last for you, Zach, with Bryson Shaw. We've been going through that 2019 signing class for Ryan Day. Almost kind of slipped through the cracks here, slipped through our fingers before we didn't get to Bryson Shaw, but he's enrolled. The safety now from the Bullis school that Dwayne Haskins came from. I know this is a kid that's got you pretty excited.
I absolutely love this kid. This is a culture-building kid. When you bring a guy like this into your program, he's a play hard, practice hard, weight room hard kind of guy that is totally going to elevate everyone in this class. This is also a kid that isn't really talked about much, isn't highly recruited, but he's going to be a kid that when he steps on campus, it's going to be a guy that the rest of the team, and especially his 2019 class, are going to look to as a leader by the way he goes about each day and what he does.
Kind of helps to be at a position, too, for Bryson Shaw, where he's got that athleticism. You can see it on the film. Zach's going to break it down, but he doesn't necessarily have to show up in June, July training camp and be ready to go. That position, he can maybe take a little time at safety.
For sure. And this is a kid, he's got some older guys in front of him, right? And Jordan Fuller and Brendan White. Even Sean Wade playing in the nickel position. This is a guy that can sit back and wait a little bit and get a year underneath his belt. But this is a kid, and I would not be surprised if he's playing on all four special teams year one when he comes in, just because of the way he plays the game. He loves contact. He is a hustler. You see it on tape, and we're going to see it. He goes 100 miles per hour at all times. This is a kid that never takes a play off, and that goes such a long way. You can't teach that. That is in your heart, and that's the way you just play on the field.
Zach's excited about Bryson Shaw. Ohio State's excited about Bryson Shaw. Here's why. Let's roll the tape. All right, Zach, you're looking right here at Bryson Shaw playing in the secondary. He plays all over for Bullis, a school that Ohio State knows pretty well, giving Dwayne Haskins to the Buckeyes over the last few years. Just really an athletic kid. That's the first thing. You can play him pretty much anywhere.
Yep, and I was just about to say, his athleticism is what jumps off the film. I think that's what the Ohio State coaches are so excited about. This is a guy that can play anywhere at any time. He's a tough, hard-nosed kid. You see he's quick, agile, but even he's a longer kid, right? He's athletic. He's a guy that, especially from a defensive standpoint, I think you're going to be able to see him in nickel. I think you may be able to see him in a Pete Warner linebacker role at some point. You may be able to see him play free safety at some point in his college career. This is a guy that literally is going to play all over. A guy now in this defense in the bullet position that probably you're going to see that's where they're going to line him up first.
Yeah, when he was recruited, when he signed, that bullet position didn't even exist. But now you look at it and like, well, that might have worked out pretty well because he seems to have a lot of those same maybe Brendan White style, plays on film. Obviously, he's not going to play offense for the Buckeyes, but the speed shows up there.
No, the speed shows up, and here's the thing. He's just a tough kid, right? He's one of those guys that doesn't care about, hey, how he looks, being all flashy, but he's a kid that you can tell loves the game of football, and I know that's what Mark Pantoni loved about the kid when he was recruiting him. It just shows on film. You can see all this. He's a tough nosed kid. He likes contact. He wants to get to the football, wants to play with a purpose. And I think that's the biggest thing that you can see on film with a kid is a kid who plays with purpose goes such a long way, especially when it comes to coaching him in the future.
You can't watch Bryson Shaw and know about his background. It's sort of like Sam Hubbard. You have to mention that at least he has that lacrosse background.
I thought we weren't going to mention that.
We've got 4 years to not mention it. Let's do it now while he gets here.
No, I agree. This is a kid that you just saw won a national championship in lacrosse. This is a kid that even on the cross field, it takes a different kind of person, right, to play the game of lacrosse. I know people are saying it's not football, but you know what? It is. It's a tough sport. He plays contact sports. Honestly, from the 2019 recruiting class, out of my top 4 or 5, this is a kid that would be in my top 4 or 5 favorite recruits that we got in 2019.
And we waited until the very end to break it down. It's like we almost let him slip through the cracks, and I think that's sort of the way people view this class. He's not a name that typically comes off the tongue.
But in every single recruiting class, there's the kid that isn't the highest rated recruit, doesn't have the flashiness of a 5-star guy, but there's a guy always in the class that doing what? Excels at Ohio State and is a 3-4 year starter, is a all Big Ten performer. And they're like, oh, this is a kid that was barely recruited this can be that kid. I'm telling you right now, this kid is going to be an all Big Ten performer at Ohio State throughout his career.
That's a big-time prediction there from Zach Boren. That's why you come here to get his analysis. Looking at the highlight film for Bryson Shaw, he's got several years ahead of him for Zach to break down with us on Lettermen Row and BuckIQ. So for Zach, appreciate his time as always and his thoughts. I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you next time.